Greetings everybody! So as I film this, I have made 575 videos of me traveling around the world reviewing fruit. I have had a lot of really weird stuff, and today I would like to share with you 10 of the weirdest fruits that I've come across in my travels. But as an extra bonus, each fruit that I talk about is going to be from a different country. So 10 different fruits from 10 different countries. And at the end of the video, if you want to find any more information about anything that I've spoken about, go to the description below. I'll put links to the full episodes there. All right, let's get to it. Oh, I'm not having a good time. Yeah, this is like a thing of nightmares. Last time I made a top 10 video, I spoke about the calabash, a bowling ball sized fruit that I found while I was in the Philippines. It didn't taste very good, but in the Philippines it's used to make a health tonic. Well, while I was in Mexico, I found a relative to the calabash that is also very odd. This one is much smaller, and when I cut it open, it was filled with a black sludge. It wasn't appealing looking, but it surprisingly tasted okay. It was sweet with a vanilla and licorice flavor. The seeds were the best part though. When roasted, they tasted like corn, and they had a little heart shape. So yeah, tasty heart-shaped seeds in a fruit that looks like sewage. How romantic. The texture of it is god-awful. It's the texture of soggy leaves. The flavor is quite good. So behind me right here, this large, incredible looking tree, that is the cannonball tree. The cannonball fruit actually has something in common with the Mexican calabash. They are both evolutionary anachronisms. This means that the original way that the trees would have spread their seeds has been lost to time. The Mexican calabash was spread by an animal that was related to the elephant, and the cannonball fruit was spread by giant ground sloths. Yeah, those aren't around anymore, but man, would it be cool if they were. As the name suggests, the cannonball fruit is heavy, it's hard, and it's completely spherical, and the tree that it comes from looks like it's from another time. The fruit hangs from the trunk like ornaments. And when they're cracked open, a white flesh on the inside quickly oxidizes and then turns a vibrant blue. I ate a piece of it and it tasted like burning rubber. It was so acidic that I was actually a bit worried that it might dissolve my tongue. Maybe it was a little unripe? There's a happy ending to both of these evolutionary anachronisms though. Although the original seed-dispersing animals are extinct, there are now non-extinct animals that have been found to be able to spread their seeds. It's still really cool to get a chance to try this thing, so I'm excited about that. But, yeah, I'm not going to eat any more of this. It's terrifying. Monkey pod, also known as the camichele, is a South American fruit that you can also find in India, the Caribbean, and Southeast Asia. I found them for sale as a travel snack at a ferry terminal in Thailand. These are crazy looking curlicues that split open when they're ripe. The colorful fruit on the inside looks like it's going to taste really interesting, but really it's more just like a mild apple flavor. But they look really cool, and the texture is really something special too. It's somewhere between chewing on a piece of rubber and a wad of paper. It's weird, but it's kind of satisfying to eat. The texture is nice, so I can see how this would be like a good snack to have like while you're like on a boat or on a train or something, just kind of like something to kind of like nibble on. Remember when you were a kid? There's nothing better than Saturday mornings. Saturday mornings meant you could put on some great cartoons, get yourself a big bowl of cereal, and just relax knowing that you had several days without having to worry about any homework or school. Well, I'm happy to say that with my new sponsor today, the Time Unraveling app, you can bring back those good old days just by putting a few basic commands. That's all it takes, just like this. Go.
Looks like I went too far. This thing still has some bugs to work out. Alright, let's go back.
Alright, so maybe it's a little too soon to think about time travel, but thankfully I have another sponsor today that's even better, Magic Spoon. Magic Spoon will bring back those memories of when you were a kid, only better, because their cereal has no sugar, no grain, no gluten, no soy, no GMOs, only 4 grams of carbs, only 140 calories, and 13 grams of protein or more. And best of all, no dinosaurs. Their variety pack comes with 4 delicious flavors, including the frosted variety, peanut butter variety, fruit flavored variety, and the chocolate variety. My favorite is actually taking these two, the peanut butter and the chocolate, and mixing them together. Magic Spoon is so confident that you will love their product that they even have a happiness guarantee. If you're not completely satisfied, you'll get a full refund, no questions asked. That's actually really impressive. As you know, I travel a lot, so cereal is one way that I kind of like hack the system. Because a lot of times you don't have a microwave, you might not even have a fridge, and you can have like some cereal at least like out of hand. So Magic Spoon is good for that, because not only is it convenient, it's also good for you. Click my link below and use code WEIRDEXPLORER at checkout to get $5 off your order. What flavor will you try?
I'm going to talk about nutmeg. Not nutmeg, the seed, but nutmeg, the fruit.
Sometimes the weirdest fruit is right under our noses and we don't even know it. Nutmeg has been a popular spice in the West since the 16th century. It shows up again and again in cookbooks, even from the colonial era. So how did this spice that is native to Malaysia and Indonesia end up in the back of cupboards all around the world? Well, it starts in the early 1500s with this cheery fellow, Alfonso de Albuquerque, a ruthless Portuguese general famous for capturing Goa in India, and then a year later capturing the city of Malacca in Malaysia. Trading spices was a big business for people in Southeast Asia, so the location of where nutmeg was grown was kept a secret from European traders. Well, Albuquerque, now with control over nearby Malacca, forced his way to finding out where the hidden area was. This turned out to be the Banda Islands. He went there, he loaded up his ships with nutmeg, and the secret was now exposed. After this, nutmeg became much more common for people in the Western world. There is more bloodshed in nutmeg's history, but I'll save that for another episode. But why is there such a fuss over this fruit? Well, nutmeg is very useful. The seed is, of course, where nutmeg, the spice, comes from, but the aril around the seed is also a popular spice, mace. The flesh of the fruit is a third spice. It's too astringent to eat raw, but it can be used as a spice in food, or you can actually candy it as well. That tastes a little bit like the seed does. It is piney, it is earthy, it is a little bit like citrus rind. So next time you grate a little nutmeg into your muffin batter, take a short moment of silence to remember where it came from.
It's actually pretty good. Like, I think this would be really good, something that you can like mull with. but on its own it's very strong.
What I think this might be, even though this isn't really where I would have expected to see it, I think this is called Stinkin' Toe. Stinking Toe definitely wins the award for having one of the weirdest names given to a fruit, but that's not all that makes this a strange one. It is found in the Caribbean and in South America. I ended up finding this one in Colombia being sold as a medicine. It actually does look like a big toe, and when you crack it open, it smells like a big toe. The flesh is powdery like a clump of dry coffee creamer, and the flavor is, it's kind of weird. It's like a little bit like melon, a little bit like Parmesan cheese, and it has a little herbal taste. It's like eating a spoonful of flour. Have you tried ice cream bean yet? When are you going to try ice cream bean? You should really try ice cream bean. Try ice cream bean. Why aren't you trying ice cream bean? I'd say like once a week somebody mentions ice cream bean to me. So fine, I'm here, I'm in Bolivia, and I got one. Ice cream bean refers to several species of the Inga genus. They are big green bean pods that when cracked open have a fluffy white flesh on the inside with a texture that's a little bit like a wet cotton ball. They are called ice cream bean because the flesh supposedly tastes like ice cream, and I can attest that they kind of do. Some of them more than others will actually have a little bit of vanilla taste, and they can have a slight creaminess to them too. The seeds are also edible, and when roasted with some salt, they make a nice chestnut-like snack.
So this one, dare I say it, does actually kind of taste like ice cream.
Voor het gate, voor het kerst.
Voor voetie.
Voor voet. Ja, van kerst. En doe je... Oh, it's like a tapia.
While traveling through Madagascar, I was shocked to find out that most of the trees throughout the country were sadly cut down in order to make charcoal. In a country where a lot of people struggle to make ends meet, charcoal is unfortunately one of the few ways that people can make money. However, there are a few trees that have managed to stick around because they are useful in other ways. Tapia trees are a great example of this. These trees produce a small fruit that some communities will sell on the side of the road as a travel snack. They're good. They taste a little bit like apples and brown sugar. But besides their use as a snack, these trees are also a host for a native silkworm. So a silk-making industry also brings income into the area where these trees grow. The fruit is not the weirdest looking or the weirdest tasting, but they are very rare, and because the trees are so uniquely useful, I think they deserve a place on this list. Going down the road here, you see just like some sort of very, very specific niche industry taking place. So you go by and you see people just selling baskets on the side of the road. You'll see it for like maybe like 20 miles of people selling baskets. You go a little bit further and it's 20 miles of people selling toy trucks. And then there's another section of people selling these. So this was one of those sections. So thankfully, like, this very tiny little industry is there to preserve this very rare fruit, because I think otherwise this would just be completely cut down to make charcoal out of the trees, like everywhere else.
There's another valley that was all rabbits. That was kind of cool.
Oh yeah, there's a rabbit valley.
This is related to the jackfruit and the breadfruit and the chempedak, which are all fruits I've reviewed before. And what this is called a meringue.
Jackfruit is slowly becoming more common these days. Giant as they are, the fruit sometimes shows up at supermarkets, even here in the US. And products using unripe jackfruit can be bought for outrageous prices at supermarkets as well. Jackfruit is both delicious and strange looking, but there are other species related to jackfruit that are even better and stranger looking. This is morong, a jackfruit relative that I found while I was in the Philippines. It has a really weird texture on the outside, like a spiky ball. And when it's ripe, you can actually tear it apart with your bare hands. Inside, the flesh is white and soft, and it looks pretty cool, especially if you tear away all the rind first. It has a syrupy, tropical flavor along with a funky but addictive taste that is kind of like the flavor of curry leaves. And if you haven't had curry leaves before, my best comparison would be kind of like how gasoline smells, only in the best possible way.
Alright, that was breakfast, and that was pretty amazing. Okay, that was really, really good. This mango is about $77 US for one mango. They sell these ones for over about $100 each. I'm gonna go with that one because I'm cheap.
In Japan, fruit is more than just something that you eat. It is given as a gift, much in the same way that wine is given in other parts of the world. And with that, there is an entire business centered around luxury fruits. These fruits are sold at shops that look more like a jewelry store than a supermarket. Fruit there is priced not just according to its flavor, but also how it looks. I bought several very expensive fruits, a $35 melon, a $15 strawberry, a $3 banana, but the biggest ticket item that I got was a mango for $80. The Egg of the Sun mango is actually an Irwin mango, a relatively common variety that you can get in Florida for just $1. However, the ones in Japan are proudly grown in the Miyazaki region, where they are babied as they grow to ensure that in the end, they are perfect. So how does an $80 mango taste? Good. Really good. Was it the best mango that I've ever had? No. There are a lot of different varieties of mangoes out there, and some varieties I simply like better than this one. But for an Irwin mango, this was incredible. It's fascinating to see how a lot of care can make such a big difference when growing fruit.
This is the wreckage of a $150 feast. We got half of a $30 cantaloupe. We've got the shells and pit of an $80 mango. It's like garbage packaging from a $15 and $7 strawberry. Today was a good day. And yeah, I'm gonna go out for dinner, which I think will probably be ramen noodles. I think I'm gonna be eating ramen noodles for a while. Bye, guys.
So I've been thinking I'd be able to find some really crazy fruit here, and I haven't really seen that much until now. I found one that I think kind of makes up for the lack of interesting things that I've found. This guy. Check this guy out.
After driving through 8 hours of winding Laotian mountain roads, I came to the small capital city of Samnua. This area had a misty, dreamlike quality about it, like it was perpetually stuck in a cloud. Very few foreigners visit Samnua, and my presence there was met with some mixed reactions. Children would giggle when I walked by, and the older generation would give me these long, hard stares. You see, Laos to this day is still recovering from the Secret War, a period around the time of the Vietnam War when the US had carpet-bombed Laos in order to prevent the spread of communism. The area around Sam Nua was where the communist leaders were stationed, and that made it one of the main targets. Over 40 years after the war, and this troubled history between our countries was still in the air. But despite of that, everybody that I interacted with was incredibly kind and incredibly generous to me. Laos stands as one of my favorite travel experiences. It was a surreal, beautiful, and yet heartbreaking place to visit. And yes, I also found a really weird fruit. In Sam Nua, there was a little market where nearby tribal communities would gather to sell whatever they had grown, foraged, or caught. Among tables full of flayed open bats and lizards, there was a little old lady selling this fruit. When I asked her what that fruit was, she gave me the local name for sugar apple. But this was no sugar apple. I found out later that it was Cadsura heteroclita, a very rare and very strange looking fruit from a genus that there isn't really a whole lot of information about. The fruit was like a ball of keyed-in nuggets, and to eat it, you would have to reach in, pull out one of those pieces, and then peel it like a banana. The taste was good. It was sweet, it was citrusy, and it had like a little bit of like a floral, lavender, and peppery kind of taste to it. Out of all the years that I've spent traveling, this was one of my favorite finds. It was an incredible journey and learning experience, and in the end, I found such a great treasure. Well, I hope you enjoyed that list, everybody, and once again, go to the description box below because I will list full episodes of every fruit that I've mentioned in this video. Also, this is the third top 10 weirdest fruits in the world video that I've made, so I'll put links to the other two in the description as well. So yeah, I think that's about it. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care.